Hey guys, so we're going to look at 9 signs for how to know you are dating a promiscuous woman and the one sign she's really and truly reformed and you don't have anything to worry about. Because the reality is she may seem sweet and even wholesome, but that's not always an indicator of angelic behavior. And if she spent a lot of time in Hoville, there's a much greater chance that she will cheat on you, leave you, or level up and crush your soul like an evil demon. The fact is, slutty clothing, provocative behavior, and even sexual activity is not always a sure sign of active sluttiness. And you need to pay attention for the signs that she might still be a member of the In and Out Club. And what to look for to know for sure she's packed her bags on Tramp Town and is actually worth the effort. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I help men decode modern women so you can find, attract, and keep your keeper. My videos are for you if you know that while women do need to learn how to understand and appreciate men better, for sure, there's only so much you can do, so my videos focus on what you can do. Welcome to Just the Tip. It can be difficult to know if she's actually a promiscuous woman based on her behavior or her clothing or her appearance, especially if she tries to hide things from you. So the more of these signs you see, the more likely she is still a promiscuous woman or wants to be. She admits to cheating but blames the guy. If she's been unfaithful in the past in her relationships and always blames the guy, even if he was a real jerk, and doesn't take responsibility for any part herself, then yes, that might be a sign that she's actually a promiscuous woman. At minimum, she should be able to own up to her choice in cheating rather than working on the relationship or leaving first. And this makes her at high risk to potentially cheat on the next guy she dates if he does something wrong in her eyes. This one may seem obvious. She has or has had a lot of one-night stands. And we're going to tie this one into the sign she might be reformed, but I'll explain that a bit later. Now, it's one thing if she's been in some semi-long-term relationships with guys and then had a break in between those relationships before bumping over to the next guy without cheating, but a string of one-night stands that she's told you about or that you know about from whatever sources you have actually shows a woman who's either not ready to settle down or incapable of settling into a long-term relationship at this time. And she might still be a promiscuous woman. Or she's indoctrinated into pro-ho feminism and is emotionally damaged goods, something that is a common trait amongst modern feminists. Third and fourth wave. Wave those girls bye-bye. And if she brags about her body count, you can count on that being her last conquest. And this brings us to number 3. She's not as selective about her partners as she should be. Okay, so let's say she has had a string of shorter term relationships, but they've been monogamous, and she has had breaks in between, aka no cheating. So she picks up a guy and dates him for a few weeks or maybe even a few months. But after a short time, then she ditches him and moves on to the next guy. If she never really takes into consideration who she selects, takes home, and allows into her body, this could be another indication that she's a sloppy second. You are dating a promiscuous woman who will punt you soon. Which kind of ties into this next one, which is going to disappoint you a little bit. 4, she talks about sex a lot. Now, while talking about sex isn't bad, in fact, in some cases, it's really good. Open communication is good in a relationship. But if she talks about it an awful lot, and especially early on, it could be that she's reeling you in, or it could also be that she's just promiscuous. Gentlemen, I've got news for you. Whatever she's said to you, guaranteed it's not the first guys she's said those words to. Slutty women know that men who like sex also like to talk about sex. Now, of course, every new courtship needs some sexual tension and innuendo at the beginning. That's called flirting. You got to have that to build attraction. But If she skips straight ahead to explicit conversations and sharing pictures she wouldn't want her parents to see, that might be a sign that she's actually still a promiscuous woman and not ready for something more emotionally deep and fulfilling. Yeah, you know what I mean. Okay, now let's look at one of the most insidious ways of knowing you are dating a promiscuous woman. And this one actually ties into the one way to know if she's actually reformed. 5, she hooks up with you on the first date. I know. Hooking up first without actually getting to know the person is way more common nowadays, especially with younger generation. But it's still an indication of someone who places little importance on actually getting to know someone before offering up their body parts. And once again, if she's done it with you, guaranteed she's done it with others, no matter what she tells you. Okay, I retract that. Very occasionally, you are that special guy. But if your relationship starts between the sheets, you won't really know for sure. Especially if 6, she don't care if people think she a hoe. She doesn't care if people think she's promiscuous. Even though modern feminism will tell you there's nothing wrong with promiscuity, well, some women still feel embarrassed and ashamed by that kind of behavior. Probably in large part because a lot of men don't want hoe women as long-term partners. They are not the keepers in men's eyes most of the time. Being highly promiscuous with other men is not a quality or character trait men have high on their list for wife material or even girlfriend material. So if she outright takes pride in it, then she might be someone who has a more sexually active lifestyle. Now, if she actually has hung up her hoe shoes, this might not bother you. More on that in a minute. How to know if she's hung up her hoe shoes, if she's really hung up her hoe shoes, coming up just in a moment. But if not, and you are ready to settle down, then you could be in for a world of hurt. So this next one is kind of sneaky. 7, she dresses slutty sometimes. Now this one may seem obvious, but it's not always that obvious. Maybe she dresses rather conservatively most of the time, but then really sexy and provocative when she goes out on dates with you. But how she chooses to dress can play a part in how much attention she's seeking from other men, not just how good she wants to look for you. If she's a slob at home when she's with you, but sexually maxed out fashion-wise when you go out where there's going to be other guys, or when she goes out with her girlfriends, that might be a sign that she's promiscuous. Or at the minimum, still looking for validation and sexual attention from other men. Either way, red flag, especially if you've suggested you actually prefer a more subtle and classy look. And if she's doing that for other guys, then she's probably doing this next one. She flirts with other men in front of you, but says she's just bubbly and friendly. Or maybe she's so subtle about it, she just tries to catch other men's gaze and make eye contact without actually saying anything. But you know in your gut, something's going on. Trust your gut. Flirting with other men is not only disrespectful, but it's a sure sign that you are dating a promiscuous woman. She either can't or won't commit to you romantically and sexually, even if she says otherwise. And it's entirely possible that she's got a string of other guys that she's flirting with on the side as her backup plan, or maybe her next plan. On that note, and then a bonus sign to know if she's still hoeing, 9. She hides her phone from you or has it locked. Of course, it's natural in the early stages of dating to expect privacy, but if you're heading towards exclusivity and there's a lot of these other signs present, then this is one you definitely want to pay attention to. It can also be a sign of trying to cover up or hide previous indiscretions or potentially future indiscretions. Whereas, of course, if she never hides her phone from you and never locks it, then there's probably nothing on there for her to hide from you. Okay, now here's a sneaky one that might be kind of hard to clamp down because she says it's part of her career building strategy. And then the surest way to know if she actually is reformed. Bonus, her social media is filled with half-naked pictures. Whether or not she's trying to use social media as a platform to gain followers and sponsors and whatever else, if she's got a lot of half-naked pictures or very provocative photos on there, then at the very minimum, she's looking for attention from other men. Now, to be fair, not every sexy girl on Instagram is promiscuous, but the reality is we do tend to show off our best side on social media, but if she's trying to show off her backside on social media, well, she might not be ready to commit to just you. So if she posts a lot of provocative photos, even if they're from your date night, well, that might be a sign that she's still being promiscuous or wants to be. And if you're actually cut out of all of the photos because business, that's a pretty major sign that you're not her primary, exclusive, I'm proud to be with, please know that I have a boyfriend thing. So again, the more of these signs you see, the more likely you are dating a promiscuous woman. But what's the one major sign that really shows that she's reformed from her open door policy? Voluntary celibacy. Okay, you're not going to love this very much, but it's the surest way to know that she is reformed from her hoe days. If she hasn't slept around with someone for a long time, I'll give you a general recommendation in just a minute, then it probably means she's put those days behind her and she's ready for something more meaningful. Okay, major key point. If she's ready for a relationship, in order for a woman to trust herself in the selection process, the more men she's slept with, the longer she needs to stay celibate to be able to trust herself and for you to trust her value. Okay, so that bears repeating. I'm going to say that in a different way. If she's ready to settle down and be monogamous forever after, or at least wants to be, she knows she needs to get to know you to ensure true compatibility, not just based on attraction and sexual chemistry. Before great sex with you clouds her judgment. So what's the right amount of time to wait? It depends on how old she is, how many guys she's slept with, and how long she's already been celibate. Voluntarily, key point. If she's out there looking for it and just not getting any, she's not ready. But if she's like, nope, not doing it because I'm gonna this time choose the one I should really be with, then yeah, she might be worthwhile. Might be. This is not a guarantee that you're compatible or that she's ready or that she's emotionally healthy, but it's the first sign you need to look for. Rule of thumb, and this is actually supported by more recent studies. If she's been celibate by choice, very key point there, by choice, for at least a year, then she might actually be ready, willing, and able to settle down into a monogamous, committed relationship. And how do you know if she's been honest about her sexual history over the last year or so? Well, that one's easy. She's not doing any of the things in this list, including sleeping with you right away. Now, if she's doing some or all of the things in this list, then yeah, she might be actually ready to cheat on you soon, or maybe already is. If you want to know what those signs are, then you're going to want to watch my video, 12 urgent warning signs she will cheat on you soon. And if that's the case, that sucks, my friend, that sucks. And she probably is too. Thanks for being here. God bless. Hey guys. So I'm down by the river. Yeah, so I just want to also note, if she's got, one or two of these signs, it doesn't necessarily mean she's promiscuous. I know someone who, oh, there goes the short bus. I know someone who, oh, I got in trouble for that one, who was dating a woman who really dressed very promiscuously. So, lots of cleavage, tight dresses, short, like the whole works. And that was her daily thing, even going to the grocery store. But she grew up in a community where that was more common. And she actually wasn't promiscuous, and she was loyal to him for a long, long time. Well, forever, but she eventually died. That's sad. But so one or two of these signs isn't necessarily indicative that she's promiscuous.